What's up, fuckers? It's tea time. Well, heavens to fucking Betsy. The depths of hell opened this week so the Republican National Convention could kick off, and watching it was tougher than chewing through a $2 steak. But I've got the deets, my little fuckers. It seems that El Chapo was kind enough to supply the energy source for the elephant meth circus. It was literally 3 gallons of crazy in a 2-gallon bucket. Everyone that opened their mouth sounded like they had previously spent an evening dining with Hannibal Lecter because their brains were gone. But worry not, the cracked out liathon did not disappoint. Melania Trump was dressed for World War III. COVID-19 was repeatedly referred to in the past tense. Natalie Hart thinks it's a bad thing to want to die with dignity, and the only thing that stood out more than all the hypocrisy were Eric Trump's fucking ears. Since every living former U.S. president has urged us not to vote for Trump, and 27 Republican lawmakers have now endorsed Biden, it was slim pickings on getting primary speakers to speak on Trump's behalf. Jerry Falwell could have spoken, but he decided that he'd rather watch. So the seeds of Chucky joined the madhouse to speak on behalf of their daddy, Mango Mussolini. And I'll tell you what, they really scraped the bottom of the barrel when they asked Donald Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle, to speak. Her prompter was clearly cap-locked. The banshee shouted to an empty room for 6 minutes. It was the speech heard round the world. Not because it was good or heartfelt, but because the bitch was at a foghorn level. She waved her Rita Repulsa hands at her podium, summoning any and all Karens to the polls to vote for the apricot asshat. In the midst of all her shrieking, she forgot that Puerto Ricans have been U.S. citizens since 1917, when she claimed that her Puerto Rican mother was an immigrant. But I guess you can't really blame her, because Trump makes the same mistakes and she's ovary deep in the Trump Kool-Aid. Charlie Kirk said Trump is the bodyguard of Western civilization. Honey, Trump is the reason Western civilization needs a fucking bodyguard. If Trump is reelected, he will eat this country alive, and with a nice Chianti. Everything the Republicans claim will happen if Biden is elected is already happening under Trump. The economy crash, no jobs, riots, protests, police brutality, chaos, discord, and death. It's all on Trump. Trump hacked up America like Melania hacked up the fucking Rose Garden. Trump thinks the election is rigged unless he wins. The news is fake unless it makes him look good. His staff is great until he fires them. He's rich, but you can't see his taxes. And he's honest, but his staff can't testify against him. He's a con man, not a president. Theodore Roosevelt said patriotism means to stand with the country. It does not mean to stand with the president. But Trump supporters clearly don't stand with the country. They love Trump, not America. Trump is running a family crime syndicate complete with indictments, convictions, and prison time, while Obama and Biden didn't have any of that at all. It's plain as day who the villains are in this two-party system. The Trump administration. All of them are slicker than snot on a fucking doorknob, but I gotta hand it to Melania Trump for being brave enough to endorse Joe Biden in front of her husband. She said total honesty is what our citizens deserve from our president. I mean, if that isn't a Joe Biden endorsement, I don't know what is. But all I really learned from the Republican National Convention is that now is not the time to run and hide. It's time to choose a side. The Republicans love to call anyone who doesn't support Trump a sheep. But now is not the time to be silent, my lambs. You can't sit this election out with the I don't want to vote for the lesser of two evils excuse. Your life would be shit butt city if you labeled every 2 options you thought were disappointing the lesser of 2 evils. It's like saying I went out to eat last night and I was starving. But when ordering beans, they only had the choice between green beans and fava beans. I won't support a 2-bean restaurant, so I didn't eat, and I still haven't eaten. My stars, you sure showed them. You have enough sense not to play that scenario with mundane shit like that, so why do people do it with politics? The reality is the 2020 election is the furthest thing from Sophie's choice, but let's say you literally have to choose between the lesser of 2 evils. Why would you not pick the lesser? If you're presented with the option of being burned alive or freezing to death, you're literally going to say, both are bad, I won't choose. One is clearly far more painful than the other. One of these candidates will be the president of the United States. You could write Joe Biden's sins on a post-it note, but we're going to need a fucking CVS pharmacy receipt for Donald Trump's. Maybe 2. Front and back. Voting is your duty as an American citizen. Now hear me. What does a good American do? It puts the ballot in the basket. Don't be silent. Scream. Scream like those lambs did when Clarice Starling crept into the barn that night. If we don't vote for our lives like they depend on it, we're going to have to watch Trump put the orange lotion on the skin for the next 4 fucking years. I want everybody to have a great fucking day unless you've chosen to sit this election out.